Welcome, my friends, and thank you for joining me for this, the first podcast edition of my 2012 campaign re-election updates. I'm Councillor Peter Marks from the Toowoomba Regional Council. Coming up today, I would briefly like to share with you some of my overall reflections of my first time on the Regional Council. I have thoroughly enjoyed leading my portfolio of planning and development. The process, the implementation of the City Centre Master Plan, the new Regional Plan, and the Proprietary Infrastructure Plan were both challenging but very enjoyable. The involvement of the community interest groups as well as councillors and staff made these three projects so transparent. Historically, I understand this hasn't always been the case. In fact, an example of the PIP usually has very little public input, and the regional plan doesn't always give the whole community the opportunity to influence the future direction. I'm continuously reminded that this is not the way we do it. It is certainly one way to get my shackles up. Why not challenge the status quo? I will always challenge the need for greater accountability with timelines, and challenge that the council should implement best practice and not just settle for a mediocre approach or trying to raise the bar. It amazes me to date we have not taken time to address all the matters raised in the community plan. Some matters have not been addressed in our corporate plan, therefore it means it remains off the agenda for the operational plan, and naturally has not been addressed in the budget that the whole community wants. The excuse that we have not had enough time or we're too busy really isn't good enough. On my watch as planning and development portfolio, I became increasingly concerned that the Charlton Well Camp wasn't getting up and progressing. Nobody seemed to be championing the cause, and I well remember the coming together of 17 different arms of council to discuss where to start. That was one of my many learning experiences. I'm pleased to say that the Charlton Well Camp Enterprise Area is underway, and next year a complete strategic plan for the site will be produced. Personally, I believe this is one of the major achievements of this council. Covering over an area of 2,000 hectares, it is destined to provide much needed industrial land for the region. I see the site as having the potential to be a key catalyst for business growth, leading to more sustained economy. The site has the potential to provide employment somewhere between 12,000 and 15,000 people, and increase the TRC's area GRP by about 30%. The eastern boundary of the site is the corridor for the proposed bypass road and the proposed border road from Moree to Toowoomba. The area is also the start of the proposed Surat Basin Railway to Gladstone. The ATC Group is proposing to establish a major intermodal freight centre at Charlton at the junction of the border and the Surat Basin Railways. Personally, I've grown tired of hearing the predictable, "Peter, this is not how we do it here. Peter, this is local government, it takes time." And don't be so impatient. It takes time to get it right. What a load of bull. I question all these statements. Rarely in local government have I witnessed where it is not possible to do something better. I personally don't believe we are operating in a local government framework anymore. This is now regional government. It has over $3 billion in assets, a $600 million annual budget, and an area covering over 13,000 square kilometres. It not only takes time to get it right, but it also takes passion. One of the most frustrating issues is the continual discussion about any given subject for months and months ad nauseam, because we don't sit down and we don't reach a final solution or look for outcomes within a time frame. A classic example is the Economic Development Board, which took over 3 years to ratify, yet was discussed within the first few months of a newly amalgamated TRC, and I might add, with minimal discussion with councillors, and it is still to be signed off because of bureaucratic bungling. However, I am pleased to report that a meeting last week, Council have a greater understanding. I have no doubt that we've achieved a great deal in comparison with other councils that have been involved in their own amalgamation throughout Queensland. But because of a lack of experience by the elected representatives, there is still lots of work to do in the area of innovation. In our region, the council needs to become more entrepreneurial in its activity to respond to various pressures, including the decrease in state levy funding and the need to provide local infrastructure. Activities I would suggest might include joint ventures for the provision of infrastructure, increased use of market-based mechanisms such as developer contributions to fund urban facilities and infrastructure, an increased reliance on private construction of public facilities in exchange for increased development rights, and perhaps perhaps such pressure would also explain why councils dabble in real estate development. I'll never defend a situation where a culture of continuous improvement is not promoted, whether it's in leadership, goal setting, objectives, or strategic direction. Just imagine what we would achieve if we were more collaborative, participatory, and creative. Before signing off today, I'd like to thank my campaign team for making these podcasts happen. None of this would have been possible without your continued valuable support. New viewers are able to like and also to share these podcasts with Twitter followers on your Facebook friends. In my next podcast, I'd like to take a closer look at my time in the planning and development portfolio at the TRC. Be sure to join me then. I'm Peter Marks. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day.